Have you ever heard somebody talk about spinal lightning, or a power that's described as a giant cobra coiled right inside your own spine? Well, today we are diving deep into one of the most powerful and, let's be honest, mysterious human experiences you can imagine, the Kundalini awakening.
And we're kicking things off with this incredible quote. It just perfectly captures the mystery we're getting into, right? Is this whole serpent thing just a metaphor, some kind of symbolic story? Or is it something real, something you can feel, a kind of spinal lightning that, as the quote says, bites with bliss?
So to really get to the heart of this thing, we are not starting with textbooks or theories. Nope, we're starting with a story, a raw, first-hand account of what it actually feels like when this dormant power decides, you know what, it's time to wake up.
So I want you to picture this. Someone, let's call him the dreamer, is deep in meditation. The world is just melted away. And according to our source, they're not trying to achieve anything, they're not struggling, they're just sitting in this state of pure joy and absolute quiet.
And then boom, out of that total stillness, everything changes. An unbelievable surge of power. The dreamer sees a cobra manifest at their root chakra. That's the energy center right at the base of the spine. And the key thing here, the part they insist on, is that this wasn't some dream or a symbol. The energy felt completely 100% real. So as this immense energy starts to move, you can imagine a little bit of fear creeps in. I mean, who wouldn't be a little scared, right? But the dreamer makes a conscious choice. Instead of fighting it, they choose to surrender to this experience, to just let it happen.
And so the cobra begins its journey, moving straight up the central channel of the spine. The dreamer said that at every single stage, the experience changed, it transformed, exactly like the ancient scripture has said it would. And the whole trip ends right here, at the third eye, that spot between the eyebrows that's linked to intuition and, biologically, to the pituitary gland.
Okay, so what was that Kundalini? What is this incredible power that you hear about in ancient texts and from modern-day meditators? Well, in the yogic tradition, it has a very specific name.
It's called Kundalini Shakti. It's described as this divine creative life force that, believe it or not, exists inside every single one of us. It's just usually coiled up, sleeping at the base of the spine. When it wakes up, it travels up a central energy channel. They call it the Sushumna Nadi. And as it rises, it activates these key energy centers, the chakras.
Now, this idea is not new, not by a long shot. To get some context for what our dreamer went through, we can look at ancient yogic texts. And there's a really important one called the Hatha Yoga Pradipika. And what's wild is that this ancient manual basically validates every single part of the dreamer's story. It talks about the awakening of Kundalini, it gives you specific breathing techniques and postures to get your body ready for it, and it even acknowledges that, yeah, this power can be pretty intense and that surrender is absolutely key.
And here's the really crucial point from that text. The end goal here isn't just to have some kind of incredible energy trip. It's liberation. It's about a profound and permanent shift in your entire consciousness. All right, so we've got the first-hand experience, and we've got the ancient wisdom. But what happens if we put on our modern scientific glasses? How would a neuroscientist even begin to explain what the dreamer felt?
Okay, now this is where things get really fascinating. Because what if these two worlds, the mystical and the scientific, aren't actually fighting each other? What if they're just using different languages to describe the very same event? What yoga calls Kundalini Shakti, a scientist might call a bioenergetic surge. That central channel, the Sushumna Nadi, lines up almost perfectly with our central nervous system. And that feeling of bliss? Well, that could be the brain releasing incredibly powerful chemicals called neuropeptides. Let's dig a little deeper into this connection. This table actually maps the spiritual chakras directly onto the major glands in our body's endocrine system, which is basically our chemical messaging network. Now just think about what this means. When energy hits the root chakra, it might be stimulating the adrenal glands, the ones that control our survival instincts. When it gets to the heart chakra, it aligns with the thymus gland, which is central to our immune system. And the third eye? It maps to the pituitary, the master gland that runs the whole show. All of a sudden, this ancient spiritual map starts looking a lot like a modern biological one.
So we've gone from a personal story to ancient texts to modern science. Now our source material invites us to do something a little different. To turn inward and explore this idea for ourselves in a totally safe and guided way.
This is a simple, safe little visualization called the Dragon Trial. It starts just like you'd expect. Find a quiet place to sit and focus on your breath. Next, you just imagine that coiled energy at the base of your spine. Then, you gently invite it to rise. And here's the most important part. You pause at each energy center. The exercise asks you to think about what you might need to let go of and what you're ready to receive before you finally let that energy dissolve into light at your third eye. It's a really gentle way to get in touch with your own inner landscape.
So, after the story, the history, and the science, what's the big takeaway? What's the one thing we really need to understand about this incredible serpent power?
And this might just be the most profound insight of all, the awakening of this energy. It isn't about adding something new or becoming a different person. It's actually a process of subtraction, of stripping away all the noise and illusions to reveal the core of who you have always been. It's not a transformation, it's a revelation.
So we're left with this final, powerful question. If this incredible potential for insight, for bliss, for self-realization is sleeping inside every single one of us, what would it take to gently and safely begin to awaken yours?